So just walked out here into the barn to do our evening feeding tonight. So basically over the last day and a half, these ewes have all started having lambs again. And I didn't notice anything on the camera, so I checked them at like 3:30. I was over doing the cows, putting hay out for them. Didn't notice anything on the cameras when I checked in. Walked in here to start the feeding. Had no idea that our one ewe Willow here, she had a lamb. It's sitting right there. It's kind of hard to see here. She has it over here in the shadow. It's been standing up, moving around. She's acting a little standoffish, but I need to get her here in a jug so we can get this thing checked out. Weighs about 12.5 pounds. One thing I've noticed about this lamb, she's a lot fluffier, has more hair on her head, has the bigger Suffolk ears that are drooping down, where these other ones have the big Suffolk ears, but hers have kind of a droop to them. Really pretty the way she looks. So I didn't think that ewe Willow was going to have her lamb anytime soon. I thought she was probably going to be another 10 or 12 days out. Her udder really wasn't huge yesterday. When I was looking at it, I don't know. She has plenty of milk. I stripped out both sides. It didn't have a wax plate. That lamb had already been underneath of her drinking. That's why I didn't want to spend too much time in there with her. She's kind of not overprotective of it, but she's being very mindful of it. Kind of like give them their space. I just wanted to get it weighed and get that navel clipped and give it some lamb paste, but she had it pretty well dried off. Really nice to get a ewe lamb out of her. For one, she's just not related to anything else we have. The other is she was in with the breeding group of our ram Rooster. That's the ram we took to the state fair that ended up dying from having kidney stones. So, it's just kind of nice. That lamb has basically a lot of Rooster's, I guess you'd say, features. One of our rams, some of his lambs will come out and kind of have like a little bit bald spot on the back of their head and their ears. Another one has kind of a more elongated nose, and it's just, everybody kind of has their own look. And you can kind of, we made a joke about, that one's out of the Rusty babies because he's the bald-headed one. Well, this girl here, she just looks dead on Rooster's head. Super thick, really dark coloring on her head. So, just kind of excited to see. It's really nice to get a ewe lamb. We got plenty of ewe lambs this year. And right now, other than ewe lambs in this Suffolk pen, we only have one more left to lamb, and that was the other ewe that we had in with Rooster. But yesterday, our last commercial Suffolk ended up having her lambs. So she had a little ewe lamb. This is our last commercial Suffolk to lamb for us this year. We can say commercial, she's just not registered. She was in with our ram, Frosty. And that's one thing, like Frosty's lambs, when we bought him, the guy who bred him and had owned that flock of sheep, he said they're all very easy lambers, and that's turned out to be true. I was watching on the camera. She laid down on her side, had that lamb literally right there on the other side of the jug. Rachel got here probably about 5 minutes after she had it, and got her in here, got that lamb processed. These are really good, easy birthing lambs that we're having out of this Ram Frosty. Also, it helps that they're out of these larger frame Suffolk experienced ewes, but like Frosty's lambs all kind of have a smaller nose, not a huge forehead right off the bat. It's hard to explain without getting them out and holding them side by side, but I think that's probably part of the fact that, the owner said, when the lambs are born, they'll have really small heads, easy birthing. And, that's kind of just the different look that I'm talking about. And so far, every one of Frosty's lambs pretty much has been no problem. I've had to pull those too, but I think that was more along the lines of those lambs were just overall good sized lamb. And, it's all worked out pretty good for us on this second round of lambing. So this girl here, Elsa, with her 2 lambs, this is the one I pulled the other night. About 12:30 at night, pulled that ewe lamb and thought she was done. That's the thing. I checked her. I couldn't feel anything, but I wasn't in up to my elbow in her. That lamb must have been really deep down in her. Very surprised when I walked out. She had that ram lamb sitting there. I'm glad that she was able to have it without basically any complications. I'm glad that lamb's still alive and growing and doing good. It's been tomorrow will be 20 or 48 hours since they were born, and it's one of those things that, I hate that. I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that we're here, or if the ewe needs assistance, we're able to give it. And, it just kind of sucks missing a lamb like that. I was tired. It was late. She hadn't started passing her afterbirth yet. And after I put my hand in and didn't feel anything, I just figured, she's just not pushing, kind of like how she was doing with that lamb that I had to help pull a little bit with. And, it's just one of those things you hate to miss because the complications that could happen if you were just standing right here, you could have helped. But that's also part of the whole thing about raising livestock. They'll always surprise you. Because tonight while we're feeding, I looked over my shoulder and found a dead lamb. So here in this pen, this is the nursery area where all these weather type ewes and their lambs are at, these crossbred ewes. And everybody's growing great. Our lamb 2509, we have his mother out here. She's a good ewe, has a twin. That twin's running around. That lamb up active all day long. It's big, heavy lamb running around. I looked over my shoulder, just putting in hay, and it was just laying over here underneath one of these feeders, just laying there on its side. I walked over and, still warm to the touch, but it was dead and have no idea why it died. I don't know if one of them got rammed into it, one of these ewes kicked it or what, but everybody else seems to be acting fine. It's just part of the thing, like I said, of raising livestock. These lambs will surprise you. Sometimes something bad inside, you don't know, and they just fall over dead. And you hate to see that just because that lamb had no issues. It was growing fine, big lamb, healthy. No idea why that happened, but you hate to see it, especially in a year like this, but anytime really, just hate to see it. But so far, the second round, other than, the few little complications we've had, has gone pretty good. But one thing that is a benefit of this second round, so far, basically all of the ewes that are experienced ewes, or older ewes, have lambed. We have a couple left in the crossbred pen, and then we have one left in here, the other ewe lamb, or the other ewe that was in with rooster, to lamb. And then everything else we have would just be ewe lambs that I threw in just for the chance of maybe they get bred, maybe they wouldn't. No big deal, it's just their first year. I had to hold them back to the end of the breeding season to get them in there with the ram, just because I wanted them to be at least a year or a little bit older when they would lamb if they ended up getting bred. And I was just checking out our ewe gestation calendar today and looking and comparing dates. And some of these ewe lambs, if they weren't bred until the day that we pulled the rams out, they wouldn't be due all the way up until April, I think 4th or 7th. And that's a long time because it's February 13th today to constantly have these jugs set up and being worried about if a ewe is going to have a lamb or not. So me and Rachel's been talking, and we're going to check and kind of see what the vet's schedule is over the next week or so, possibly get her out here with her sonogram, and we will sonogram all these ewe lambs and whatever ewes haven't lambed for us yet. And so we can kind of determine if we're done lambing 2025 or not. It's just something to take a little bit of peace of mind for us. If any of them are bred, no big deal. We'll put them off to the side, have a jug still set up for them. But there's no point in doing barn checks and, rushing home to check on ewes for having lambs if none of them are bred. So we've been very busy with these few ewes and their lambs over the last 36 hours. It's kind of nice that a lot of them have been having lambs back to back here in little groups just because we're out here, we're ready, we're already short on sleep. We have all these supplies on hand ready to go. I still think I'm gonna have to get in with this ewe here with the large udder and kind of drain her down so that teat shrinks down a little bit more. But, that's just something we're just going to probably wait because it's Thursday right now, so I'll probably wait till the weekend just so I have more time to do that a little bit earlier in the day. I need to start getting some of these nurseries, like for these Suffolks, opened up a little bit bigger since we have 2 more ewes to add to it. For Rachel's bottle lambs that she's been taking care of them, had to get a little pen set up for them. They're growing pretty good, but had to kind of get that expanded this weekend. So a lot to do going forward, but, it's been very busy around here, just on and off the farm. So everybody's starting to get worn out. I couldn't imagine trying to lamb out 300 or 400 ewes. That'd just be a ton of work. But so far this year, we've had some highs and lows, and you'll just have that, I guess. So that'll wrap this one up. Thanks for watching.